Hello, what's up? We're back with another episode. Woo! But with a new episode comes old baggage. That's right, I wasn't done talking about corn mazes last time. There were 2 points I wanted to make about corn mazes. Um, and it's weird, when I think about what to talk about on these podcasts, I'm like, oh, there's these things I can touch on, and they'll probably be funny. But then I forget those things to touch on. And then I just tell you about a stupid story about how I went to a corn maze and then we did it in incorrect order and then came back and there were no funny parts to it. I left out the funny parts. So let me hit you with the funny parts. There's two thoughts I had when I was on this corn maze. And yes, only two thoughts. The whole time in the corn maze, I just had two singular thoughts. But are they singular? Yes, you can have separate but singular things. So the two thoughts I had was I don't know if I want to start dark or end dark. We'll start dark because then I can ease the tension afterwards. The dark thought I had was as I was walking through this corn maze, we went pretty late at night. I don't even know if it was late, but this time of the year, when you go anytime past 6 or 7, it's pretty dark outside. So we were, I think, out there at, 8ish p.m. And so it was dark. You can't really see maybe like 15 feet in front of you. You can see like the immediate 5 feet. But then there's also a high volume of people. There's a lot of people that go to these corn mazes, which is like, do you guys not have anything better to do? And it's like, well, Gauruv, weren't you at the corn maze? Okay, fair point. That's kind of weird how you use that logic on me. You got me there. But there's all these people with like nothing better to do in this maze of corn. And I realized something walking through there as we like brushed against each other and there was just a lot of throughput of folks. I realized you could easily kill someone in a corn maze and probably get away with it. Like, I think getting away with murder in a corn maze has to be easy. But then it's like, what's the point? Because if you're gonna kill someone in a corn maze, like, it's probably gonna be random. Like, you're not gonna set out to kill someone in a corn maze. That would just require so much planning and everything. But you could easily kill just a random person in a corn maze. I thought about it. Like, you can just either, I don't know, like, stab someone, or, like, you can probably just shoot someone and then, like, hide the evidence. Or you don't even have to hide the evidence. No, you do. Because if you shoot someone, then they're going to, like, close it down. They're like, no one leaves. But no, that's the thing. You can shoot someone. It seems so, I don't know. I haven't given it much thought, obviously, because it's not like an endeavor I want to pursue. But just like as a little fleeting thought, I was like, you know what? I bet you could murder someone and just get away with it in a corn maze. Because, like, yeah, we went through the non-maze part of the corn maze, so just the corn, and you can walk through that shit and really disappear. I was like, and actually, that's one thing you could do, like, keep your distance. Like, you could be like 30 feet out and then just like shoot. I just realized how dark this is. Okay. What the fuck? I should have thought about this before I started talking about it. Oh my god. But let's get on to the more light. Why the fuck? Damn. I realized I never like really expanded on this idea until now. Like, I only had the hypothesis. I didn't go through the procedure yet. So, or like the materials you would need for this experiment. But now that I go through the procedure and the materials, I'm like, oh god, this is really dark. So yeah, I guess I have like an irrational fear of corn mazes because I'm like, they could burn down and you could get shot. And there would be no justice, no vindication. The person would just get out free. It's so weird. You're surrounded by ears, yet there'd be no witness. Isn't that interesting? The more lighter corn maze thing I forgot to talk about was there was something interesting I noticed about going through a corn maze. It's that every time you reach what do you call it? A junction. Anytime you reach a place where you have to make a decision, like which way to go, there's something that happens. If you and another group that you're not with reach a spot where you have to go left or right, it's very interesting to me that if whoever goes first does whatever they're going to do, and then it's up to the second group to basically be like, okay, so are we going to go to the same way as them or the other way? And both of those mean two different things. One of them means, oh, I agree, they're going the right way. And the other means a very blatant admission that I think they're wrong. Isn't that interesting? Like, anytime you go against someone in a corn maze, you're not saying it explicitly, but, you're basically saying they're wrong. They fucked up. Isn't that interesting? That just by walking a different direction than someone, you're saying so much about their decision-making process. Like, in test, we all have the manila folders up, right? We're all doing our tests just by ourselves. There's no real way to tell who's doing what around you, unless you cheat. And so the person next to you could just be going the complete wrong way. But they won't know until, a week later or whatever, until their test gets graded, or they check, when the answers get posted and they see, oh, yeah, I took a left when I should have gone right. But in a corn maze, it's almost like you're just staring directly at each other's paper. You're like, I'm going to go right. And then this other group's like, all right, team, well, we're going to go left. And you're like, what? Does that mean you're saying I'm wrong? They're like, no, you're not. It's not that you're wrong. You're just going the right way. I'm like, yeah, I am going the right way. They're like, no, I don't mean the right way. I mean, you're taking a right. We're just going to take a left, which is the right way. And you're like, oh, fuck you, man. Yeah. There's something so interesting about just, I guess, the psychological dilemma of a corn maze, because you're openly admitting that people are wrong all around you, complete strangers. There's no other, there's so few other places that that's the case. I mean, it's easy to do, in a grocery store. You can do it, but it has to be verbally communicated. I think that's what sets corn mazes apart, is that through nonverbal communication, you are just telling a bunch of people you're wrong, just by going the other way. Isn't that interesting? Whereas at a supermarket, someone could be waiting, in the wrong spot, and you'd be like, oh, are you in line? And they're like, oh, no. Or they could be like, oh, I am in line, but then you correct them and be like, oh, the line actually starts back there. But that requires verbal communication. With a corn maze, you just walk by someone. But what that actually means through silence is, fucking idiot, going the wrong way. I thought that was really interesting. I think it's really interesting that you can be so brutally honest by saying nothing in a corn maze, and that you can get away with murder. Those are two things I forgot to talk about last week. So, open and shut case on corn mazes. We're done with that shit till next year, when there's more corn mazes. The other thing what has happened this week, this is kind of a later episode again. I got busy. Got so busy. Oh my God. Why are we doing things? I've talked about this to some people, actually, I haven't even talked about it because I say it and then, it's a joke and then you move on. But I've made this joke with a few people close to me. I'm like, man, humans really fucked this thing up. This society we set up, man, what the fuck was this? Why? This 40 hour work week and shit, man. And school. Hey, this is the best shit we came up with? No wonder we needed school. All you fucking idiots were so stupid that you came up with this. Isn't that interesting? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The reason I think the school system sucks so much ass is because it was created by people that needed school. And now we have school, and we're like, okay, so let's change the rules. And they're like, no. I'm like, what? But you see the people that made the rules? You remember how fucking stupid they were? They were fucking their cousins, and they saw no problem with that. They smoke cigarettes, and they're like, these are magic sticks. I'm like, what? Unless you're talking about Fun Dip, I think you're wildly incorrect, sir. I'm sorry. Uh, so yeah, just man, is this what we're all working towards? Like I've been pretty busy this week, and I'm like, wait, this is it. This was like everything in my life has led to this moment, like me being this busy. What the hell? uh, but what else has happened this week? You know, speaking of people being wrong, there's a lot of controversy around the idea of daylight savings, which happened earlier this week. I was going to be much more topical, you know, if this podcast came out at the right time on Monday, because that would have been the first day. But no, you see, I was so busy, I was given an extra hour and I still was like, no, that's not enough time. But time and money and juice are like the three things you'll use all of it of, no matter how much you have. You know, that's true. It's scientifically proven. But daylight savings happened, and yeah, I was thinking about this. I don't know why I've never thought about this, but you know, there is a debate between people that want to keep this shit and then people that want to abolish it. Actually, the people that want to keep it, I don't think anyone's like, I want to keep it. Like, that's not very like an outspoken group. But the group that's real vocal is the people that want to get the fuck rid of it, you know? The people that want to get rid of daylight savings, you hear a lot from them. And it got me thinking, wait, what if that actually, I don't think it's going to, because nothing moves that efficiently in the real world. But like, let's say, wishful thinking, we do get to a point where we like say, fuck daylight savings. It got me thinking, wait, right now we have like a switch, right? And that switch has to be in either of the two states. And we flip the switch twice a year. You know, we spring forward and then we fall back. But if we were to get rid of daylight savings, wouldn't we be stuck in whatever state the switch is at in that moment? And so it got me thinking, wait, which world would I want to live in? Would I want to live in the world where we sprung forward or the one where we fell back? And I think I would want to be stuck in the one where we sprung forward. Because like right now it gets dark at 5 p.m. And I know it's like later in the year, so it already gets darker quicker. But doesn't this mean we would lose more sunlight during summer? Which means, you know, when you're working your your 9 to 5 job, that when you get to go home, you're going to have one less hour of sunlight. I think, you know what? Now that I think about it, if we live in this fall back world, I think more people would kill themselves. Because in summer, they'd get home and they're like, cool, now I get to enjoy my day. But then, you know, after the commute and after dinner, they're only really left with what, 1 or 2 hours of sunlight. And then if you get rid of one of those, that might be the only hour of sunlight they were going to get. And now they're like, what the fuck? What do you get from sun? Vitamin D, right? Sun gives you that D, that good D. If you're not getting that good D anymore, you know, what do humans get? It's not cancer, is it? But like, don't we need vitamin D for something to be like happy? Let's just say vitamin D makes people happy. People aren't getting their happy D, you know, getting that D to be happy. Are they going to kill themselves? Like, isn't that the next logical step? Am I wrong? I feel like I'm right. So yeah, I was thinking if there was a state that I would want to be stuck in, it'd probably be Delaware. I heard it's pretty chill over there. No, if there was a state of like time that I would want to be stuck in, I would want it to be the spring forward one. Because that also means, what's the morning like, right? Yeah, the morning is darker. Like it takes a while for the sun to come out in the morning. I like that. That world is objectively better. And like once you get used to it, that's the weird thing about daylight savings is we all complain about it. But then in like a day or two, we're used to it. We're like, yep, this is what the world is now. Like, I think daylight savings is honestly fine. Because that gives you the option 2 days a year to have a good excuse for work or school that Monday. You could be like, oh my God, daylight savings. My bad. Holy shit. Wow. How weird is that? I set the clocks back. My roommates you know, thought I didn't, and they set it back another hour. So, whoa, you know, we got all turned around and they're sorry for being late. I think just to have that option, you know, and honestly, the mundane, monotony of human, or at least, I don't know, American society, um, is broken up by holidays. And so these are really just two holidays, you know? They're not. Nothing changes except your clocks. But it's kind of a checkpoint, right? And if we get rid of one, then what? It's just a Sunday? Who cares about Sunday except, like, I don't know, Jesus or whatever? Speaking of Jesus, I wrote down this interesting concept earlier this week, and I wanted to run it by you. I've been writing stuff down, by the way, for my podcast, but I haven't gotten to it just because I've been talking about real life. But I think it's a good idea to maybe dip into this stuff because I think it's good. And also, there's, I know I said I'm really busy, but there's not enough happening in my life to just talk about me all the time. So let me talk about my thoughts. I had this thought earlier. I'll just read it verbatim how I wrote it. I wrote down earlier this week, religious people being envious of people that die because those people get to go to heaven already, which is apparently the coolest place for some reason. Right? Like religious people always like hype up heaven, or like certain religions, but we'll just say religious people for the sake of the conversation. Religious people are like, oh, heaven's the place, man. That's like, you got to go there. It's like, it's essentially like the same way suburban families talk about Disneyland. They're like, that's the place. If you behave well, that's where we're going to go. Okay, everyone on their best behavior in your mortal coils, and then we will go see the mouse with big ears. It's the same thing. Behave well, and you'll go to heaven. Except, hopefully there'll be less, like, kids and just, like, piss everywhere. And giant legs of chicken. Turkey? I don't even know what those turkey legs, is that what those are? The only thing I hope heaven and Disneyland both have are churros. Besides that, yeah, I mean, I really don't want to see any overlap, And then I guess, on the other side, I bet hell has the teacups. I bet that's where the overlap is there. Yeah. But yeah, religious people are always like, yeah, heaven, heaven. I'm like, well, then why don't you kill yourself? I'm like, the longer you live, isn't that just giving you more opportunity to like sin? And isn't sinning bad or whatever? I don't know. You guys wrote the rules, right? But like, yeah, the longer you just are immortal, not immortal, but a mortal person, you're just giving yourself a chance to fuck up. You might as well. If you want to go to heaven, you should probably just kill yourself. Unless, is that a sin? Do you know if killing yourself is a sin? And it got me thinking, then people that die, do some like really devoutly religious people see someone that died and they're like, what the hell? That's where I'm trying to get to. They see at the like person service, everyone's like talking really great about them. They're like, this is the best person ever. And this one really religious person is just like, God damn it. That person was really good. There's no shit. Like every time they hear another good thing about them, they're like, oh, they definitely went to heaven. Fuck, that's where I want to go. They get, envious of a dead person. They're that religious. Johnny went and he volunteered every Sunday at the homeless dog shelter, They were going to put all those dogs down, but he didn't want to see that, so he adopted them all. And the religious person in the back's like, oh, come on! Really? What the fuck? Why can't I be like Johnny? And everyone's like, oh, what? What did you just say? See, but that would have never happened if you just killed yourself. I'm saying that a lot this episode. I don't know what's wrong. Oh my God, yeah, death's been a big part of this episode. Oh, let's chill out with that. Let's talk about something that's still sad, but not as sad. Hulu notifications. I've been using Hulu recently. I just finished watching Superstore, and then I also finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I could have finished Brooklyn Nine-Nine like a month and a half ago. I just like didn't want to watch the final episode. Do you ever have that where it's like, you know, all that buildup is good, and then you just don't want to finish. You know, you want it to last forever. What's this guy talking about? Wait, what? We're talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine, right? Yeah. What are you talking about? But yeah, I just didn't want to like finish myself off. Oh, I see how this could be interpreted wrong. Yeah, no, yeah, that sounds like something else. But I finally did it. I finally watched the season finale of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I finished all of Superstore, and those are both on Hulu. And I noticed I opened Hulu one day, and it gave me this message, and it was like, "Hey, do you want to turn on Hulu notifications?" I was like, "What? No, I'm good." But then it got me thinking, wait, Hulu notifications, like what are those for? Right? Like I couldn't really come up with anything besides like Hulu notification or like streaming app or service notifications probably just exist to be like, hey, there's this new show out, or you were watching this show, you want to like keep going on that. But besides that, like, what are the notifications for? And then it got me thinking, wow, Hulu notifications are really sad. Because you're like, hey, do you want to watch this? I know you're not doing anything else with your life, so there's this new show out. Here you go. And it's like, oh, thanks, Hulu. It's like I go on Hulu like looking for something. Like if I already know there's a show on there I want to watch, or like I go on there to browse. But to get like a notification that's like, hey, this is out. You maybe want to check it out. That's a sad part. Like that's got to be a sad place to be in life. When you're telling your streaming service to be like, hey, can you like recommend me some shit? That's like, right? That's like telling a drug dealer, hey, can you just come around my place every couple days and just offer me some shit? Just spice it up. Yeah. It's like, no, don't. Like, that's weird. Because I guess TV is addicting. I don't think it is addicting, but it has that same, in me, it's in that same vein of, or category of things that are addicting, like drugs. I don't know what else is addicting, but it's these things that get you hooked. We won't say addicted to. It just gets you hooked, you know? And things you get hooked on, you generally don't want to visit that often, right? Because that's a dangerous place to be in. And so to tell one of these things that you can get hooked on to be like, hey, can you keep throwing shit at me? That's kind of sad, right? Oh, that's like having a friend that's like, hey, you want to go eat out? It's like, we just ate out yesterday. They're like, yeah, we're going to try this new place. I'm like, there's still burgers. They're like, yeah, but you love burgers. Let's try this other burger place. I'm like, okay, let's do it. Imagine having someone like that texting you every couple days being like, hey, you want to go do this unhealthy thing? And it's like, sure, because I have no self-control. Let me just indulge real quick. I think it's kind of like that with these Hulu notifications. Like I'll think about going to a burger place like days in advance. Like I'll think about, oh, on Saturday or whatever. Like I'll have done this amount of work and like, ooh, let's get in and out that day or whatever. You know? I think that's more of a healthy relationship rather than being like, getting something on your phone that's like, hey, you want to hit up In and Out right now? And guess what, tomorrow? Let's try McDonald's because I know you love burgers. They got burgers too. It's the same kind of shit, but it's a little different. I think you'll like it. You're a 67% match. And I'm like, oh, no way. You know me so well. Let's do it. I got this new sweatshirt, by the way. It's dope. I haven't worn it yet. This is my first time wearing it today. It just has this logo. It was a real risk buying this. I bought it off Etsy. It was a real risk because they only showed the front of the sweatshirt. So I was like, what if the back just has like satanic symbols on it, or like some propaganda that's like a would be like a hate crime or whatever. So I took a risk and I got lucky because this is the only thing on the sweatshirt. It's a black hoodie with this logo, and I think it's super dope. It's a little astronaut guy, except it's kind of it's embroidered on, right? Is that what it's called? So I'm scared that, oh no, when I wash it, is it gonna get ripped off a little bit? At least for like a year, I think it'll be fine. So it'll be a fun year, but like it's super dope. It's out of this world, might I say? Hell yeah. This is free? Yeah, it is free. Hell yeah. Something I've been thinking about earlier this week too. I don't know what prompted this idea, but I started thinking about like, I think it's because really I'm on the cusp of one of them. And you're like, on the cusp of what? Like chapters of my life. I don't have the right word to articulate it, but I've been calling it like chapters of my life or like stages of my life. It's weird. I think I kind of touched on this idea in the episode of this podcast titled I've Changed. I think I talk about it in that episode a little bit, but, or at least like kind of flirt in the vicinity of this idea. But I was thinking about like who I am today, and I was like, oh, the person I am today like is just very completely different than who I was in high school. And then on top of that, like the person I was in like elementary school, like I could never be the person I was in elementary school, and I don't think the person in elementary school that I was could ever be me, you know? Well, that's literally what happened, but like I don't think it could be like a one step and then like he could get here, you know? And to me, it almost seems like a completely different like timeline. Like the relationships I'd had with people and stuff in elementary school, like pretty much, you know, if we talk about, I don't know if you know this, I probably never talked about it, but like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, I went to this private school. Um, Everyone from that school, like I don't talk to at all. I ran into a few of them later in my life, you know, but for the most part, like everyone in that part of my life is completely non-existent in this part of my life. But me in elementary school, that was my everyday. That was that was the norm. And now it's there's no trace of that in my life right now, which is really weird. That I essentially existed as this completely different person, but it's not a different person. It's the same person. It's just in a different time entirely. I think what got me thinking about this is because I can't say for sure, but I can feel it a little bit in that I'm in one of these, like I said, on the cusp. I'm in this transition point in my life where again, I don't think I can say it like definitely, but I can feel it that I'm leaving one of these chapters behind and I'm about to start a new one. And I have no idea what the fuck this new one's gonna look like. And it got me, yeah, I kept thinking about like how many, I guess, different versions of me there have been. And if you think about it, let's think about it. Preschool. I think preschool was one version of me. And then I think, yeah, that private elementary school I went to, Maryhill, that was kindergarten, first grade, second grade. I think that's another stage of my life. And then the next stage would be, you know, my elementary school, the public elementary school I went to, which is third, fourth, fifth. That's where I met a lot of people I, you know, still know of today. That's where I met Hoyer in third grade. And then, I don't know. I think the public school kind of gets grouped into, it's like a trilogy, you know? The first part is elementary school. That's the first book, and then you get middle school, second book, and high school. That's the third book. Those are all different books, but they're all part of, you know, one trilogy. And then I think after high school, college, this thing I've been doing right now, um, I think that's a whole new book. And I have that feeling where I'm like, oh, it, it, it like starts hurting your hand. Have you ever read a real life book, like a paper book? You ever get to that point where you're reading it and there's more pages in your left hand than your right one, and it starts to kind of hurt because you start just holding a lot of pages, and then you're kind of like, it's probably bad for the integrity of the book, but you're like really bending the right side of it to read what's on the inside of the spine or whatever the fuck. But I can feel it. Yeah, there's very few pages in my right hand, and I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to start a new book soon, and I fucking hate reading. No, but I just think it's very interesting, and also there have been common threads, like my family has been a part of my life for my entire life. But even then, the dynamic with them changes over the years. I don't think it follows the same grouping as the books I talked about, but like that's changed, and it's like I think I've talked about this, but like I fucking hate change in a human way. Like I think humans hate change, and I'm no different. But I know that when I do change, I usually end up on the other side in a better place. But Jesus Christ, that transition, oh, I fucking hate that shit, man. That's the thing. There's a lot of things in my life. I've been saying this for the past few weeks. There's a lot of things in my life where I'm like, I get the purpose of this. I get why it's useful, and I get why I'm doing it. But in the moment, bro, this shit sucks ass. That basically can sum up all of school, just in an idea. I get why I'm doing this. I get it's gonna pay off. But in the moment, dude, what the fuck am I doing? This shit sucks. I don't get how you can do school and remain sane without constantly reminding yourself why you're in school. It's not a very it's not a renewable energy, I would say. I don't think you're getting the energy from it to power yourself to keep going through it. This school, well, I think this confirms one thing. I am not solar powered. The more time I spend outside, I only fucking lose charge. I need to come back here in a solidarity in a room by my singular self and recharge so I can go out there and do life. But yeah, I don't even know how much. I don't know what I'm thinking about because I've identified these different groupings, these different books in my life, but I don't get what I'm feeling right now about it. You know what it is? I did think about it a little bit today. I thought about, and it's not in a sad way, it's just in a very truthful way. I feel very lonely, because what I have noticed between these, I think this is why maybe I made this distinction between each of these different books of my life. There's not that much that gets carried over from book to book. It's like, yeah, I am. This sounds grossly egotistical, but for the analogy, it makes complete sense. I'm still the main character of all the books, but there's not that many like things besides me that stay similar, which I think is maybe is what I'm thinking about, and maybe is why I feel maybe a little prematurely lonely, is because I know the things I have right now in a very short while I don't think I'm gonna have, whether that's human interactions that are a regular part of my life right now, or whether it's this living situation. Like, I don't know, I thought about it. I don't know if in a year from now I will, I'll still be making videos. I don't know if I'll be making videos in this room, This has been the room I've lived in for what, like 2.5 years or whatever now? I don't know. In a year that could be different. I could be in a different place. I might not be in Davis in a year. That could happen. And yeah, it's not even like I have that many like human relationships right now. But the ones I do have, it's weird that in a year that will look very different. I don't think it'll be as accessible. Like there's a group of people I could hit up right now and I could see them in 10 minutes. I could still hit up that same group or whatever in a year, but it might take 10 hours or something to see them, depending on where I am or where they are. I don't know. And so this sucks. I always ruin things for myself in life, but I think I already feel lonely. Even though I already have like, I still have like 4 months of school left, and I still am, will at least be in Davis for another, I think, 10 months. But I already feel the book ending. I already feel there being a small amount of pages in my right hand, and my left hand is starting to cramp up because, god damn, I've been reading this book for 5 years, and Jesus Christ, it's a real page turner, you know? You gotta turn a new page every goddamn day. Ugh, yuck. And apparently I've been writing the book at the same time I've been reading it. Ugh, Jesus. Two things I hate the most, writing and reading. Why do you think I'm an engineering major, you know? No. But yeah, I feel really lonely. And I don't think it's, again, I don't think it's a sad thing. I don't think it's good or bad. It's just a thing I'm feeling. I I think when you're in the middle of something, like when I'm in the middle of middle school, 7th grade, or I'm in the middle of high school, sophomore, junior, there's a buffer on both sides of you. Same thing with college, 4 years, 5 years. When you're in that year 2 or 3, I remember my second year when I realized, oh, I'm going to be here for 5 years, or I'm going to be here for at least more than 4 years. I remember sophomore year kind of feeling a sense of comfort actually, because I was like, that's great. I have more of an extended middle. Like when I made the decision to, switch my majors sophomore year, that was when I was halfway through college. But switching majors and pushing, my graduation date out meant I just bought myself time. Like I was at the 50% mark, and by pushing it out another year, now I'm only at the 40% mark. I did what's impossible. I fucking changed time. I went back in time. I was 50% of the way through, and then all of a sudden I was 40% of the way through just by making a decision. So yeah, I don't know why I brought that up. But yeah, when you're in the middle of these things, I remember I felt that sense of comfort my third year because I was like, I got 2 years before me, 2 years ahead of me at college. This is great. I have so much time. But now being, starting to read all the description of the book on the back cover and then some reviews. And apparently this was New York Times bestseller. And it's like, which book wasn't? You know? I'm starting to feel that back cover and I'm like, oh shit. All the characters and all the, setting and the plot of all these pages I've been reading for the past 5 years I'm going to suddenly shelve and I'm going to go on to write that next book and read that shit at the same time. I don't really get how this analogy works. I think it's writing a book. Yeah, I don't think it's reading. It's writing a book. But yeah, now I got to write a new book. And there's no gap in between this shit, You just immediately start. You're always writing. Isn't that so bullshit? I think the closest you get to a pause is like a sensory deprivation tank, right? Where you basically exit the world for a little bit, or maybe getting a good massage. I've never gotten a massage. Maybe a massage will essentially, lift you to the ethereal plane or whatever it is. I don't know. And I had a busy last week, but Jesus, man, I got another busy week ahead of me. And then the week after is Thanksgiving. That's nice. But then picks right back up, But then I'm hoping, it'll get a little more chill. Last year we got kind of robbed. I don't know if you guys go to Davis, but last year we got fucking robbed, man. Our winter break was like 2 weeks. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. This year it is a full 3 weeks, and I look forward to those full 3 weeks. 2 weeks, man. That's what we got in high school, elementary school, and shit. Middle school. We got 2 weeks of winter break, and that seemed like the longest thing ever. And then you go to college, and you're like 3 weeks, and you're like, what? And then if your finals finished on like Monday or whatever, that's essentially a month of winter vacation. And so we got so used to this. And then last year, like 2 weeks, because they started school a little later because of some other holiday, I think. So logistically it checked out, but like at a human level, I was like, oh man, what the fuck? So this year I look forward to being like, oh man, fuck yeah. This is dope. And that, if you think about it, this is interesting. That's the last like break before I, embark on this adult ass world, man. Obviously, I'll be working during that break with my internship and like YouTube videos. Bunch of crazy street racers out there. So obviously, I'll be like working. I'm not gonna just like slouch around because I can't do that. That's that winter break, my senior year of high school. That's like one of the main catalyst of why I even am talking to you right now, because I realized that winter break before I graduated high school that, I can't just sit around and do nothing. I got to be making something. And so I know I'm not going to just be sitting around, but maybe a day or two. Maybe a day or two in winter break. I'll just sit around. We'll see. Week 7, this is going to come out on Thursday, today. At the time right now, it's 6:41 p.m. on Thursday, November 11th, 11/11. Make a wish, but don't tell me. Don't tell anyone. I don't know. Which one do you think? Apparently, you're not supposed to tell people what you wish for or what you dream about, which is interesting because I think in a Venn diagram, there's overlap between those two sometimes, But I wonder, to me, I think you can tell people dreams and like there's no issue, but telling people what you wish for, that one seems like you shouldn't fuck with that one. Like, I don't think you should tell people what you wish for. But dreams, I think you can share dreams. I think maybe why I think making a wish is so high risk is like, because you want this thing to happen. A dream, it already happened. Now you're just like, hey, this happened. That, which is, if you look at it, actually funny because it didn't actually happen. I mean, it happened. Oh, this is interesting. Can you say that dreams happened or didn't happen? Because they literally didn't happen, but they happened in your brain. And that's a literal place. I guess as one step further of this conversation would be, are thoughts real? Like, are the things, the ideas that our brains come up with, they're just ideas. But are they real? Like, what constitutes real and not real? I think actually that's what you have to look at first, that definition, to find out if thoughts are real, and then to find out if dreams are real. Because dreams are just thoughts, right? Yeah, I think that's what you have to do to find out if dreams are real. But let's come up with a conclusion. Are dreams real or not? I'm going to say dreams are real. But I don't have like a good argument to why that's the case. It just feels right to be like, dreams are real. Because they really happen. Like I had a bunch of dreams last night. I've been having fucked up dreams for like 4 years. Do you know about this? My whole childhood, I had like 3 dreams. And then I went to college. And since I've been in college, I have like 3 dreams a week. And they're always like super fucked up. Like someone's dying in like 60% of my dreams, And it's pretty much never me. I've only died in 1 dream. All other dreams, it's people that are like close to me. And it's fucking the worst, man. I fucking hate that shit. But you know what I can say? All these dreams where my loved ones die, none of them took place in a corn maze. So I don't think anyone's going to murder someone in a corn maze. You have my word. Anyways, thanks for listening. I'll talk at you actually pretty soon, because this is a late episode. So see you soon. I don't know when a new YouTube video on my main channel will be up. At least by Thanksgiving, So in the next 2 weeks, you'll see a main channel upload. But thanks for listening to this. The support on the podcast, by by the way. This has been like really dope. So thank you. And I'll talk at you pretty soon, actually. Okay? Bye.